have any favorite Tim Burton characters, or maybe even lines of dialogue, songs, anything like that?
Edward Scissorhands is probably my favorite character. Like, when I was an actress, when I was thinking of being an actress, I wanted to basically play that. Like, I'm like, I want to be that kind of character.
You know, a female Edward Scissorhands movie would be a really ingenious idea
well,
right now.
I will pitch that to Tim, and then pitch myself to star in it. No. But I did love that, and I just loved the heart that the film had and sort of the sensitivity.
Now, can you tell me a little bit about joining the cast of this one? Because I read in the notes that you said you were a little apprehensive about taking the role at first.
When I first read it, it was a different time in my life. It was sort of, I don't know if I just had my child or, I don't know. I was feeling like I really wanted to play women that I saw as like really strong and like really like tough. And then I read it again, and I don't know if it was being a mother or just maturity, where I actually saw the strength in Margaret and the idea of playing this quiet dignity and this quiet strength, but just somebody who just didn't have a voice or didn't feel like she could find her voice, and then finding her voice. I found that a lot more compelling.
Can you tell me about having audiences connect to that? And I guess the 1950s housewife mentality, because it's very different nowadays.
Yeah, it is very different. And, you know, people were encouraged to, you know, let the man speak, and you don't want to make the man, you know, try not to win at games, you know, and that kind of thing. You know, my mother even said, when I asked her a while ago, like, well, why did you marry my father? And she said, well, you know what? He didn't mind that I was competitive. He didn't mind that I was good at sports. And I'm like, that's so strange. Like, that to think of that now as a woman who was raised, you know, now, it's so strange to me. Foreign, as it were, yeah.
It's very encouraging to me.
Yeah.
I want to play sports too, so.
Exactly.
And this might sound a little silly, but how is it fake painting? Because can you just kind of like slap the brush around, or are there actual techniques you have to do?
Well, I tried to follow, you know, Margaret's sort of brush strokes and follow, but we went through a lot of canvases. How about that? You know, but there was a woman that sort of painted the paintings in progress, so really I just had to follow the work and the colors that she did, so it was sort of a painting by numbers for me. But
can you paint at all?
A little bit. I'm not afraid of paint, but I certainly am not going to create something sort of with as much depth and complexity. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about working with Christoph in this? Because I'm kind of fascinated by that courtroom scene, because most movies can't support something like that, but that is just, it blew my mind how well that worked.
Oh, it's amazing that, I don't know if, I'm sure they've told you that he actually had to underplay it because Walter was so out of control, and they had to leave a ton of stuff out. Like, the stories that I've heard from Margaret are amazing about, like, him bringing an ex-girlfriend that he had signed papers, and the girlfriend got there and was like, you didn't tell me what these papers were, you this, you that, and they were like swearing at each other. It's insane what happened in that courtroom.
I'd like to see some footage of that.
I would too, but I think this was long before.
Yes, that is true.
I know, court TV, so.
And to wrap up, of course, I must ask about Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
And it kind of blows my mind because every time I write about it, there's just so many characters and there's so many things to write. Can you tell me a little bit about how Lois Lane will kind of hold her own and stand out amongst all these superheroes now?
You know, Lois is still sort of like the key to the information, you know. She's the girl going out and getting it and figuring it out and putting it together and all of that. So she's very much involved, but I kind of leave the heavy lifting to the boys, you know, so to speak, you know. But yeah, they're awesome together. It's kind of like this big fest of muscles and
I wouldn't complain being
no,
around that.
it was really kind of nice. And then you had like Jason Momoa and like Gal Gadot, and I felt very short, and yeah,